Imagine waking up one day, looking back at your life and feeling nothing but peace. No regrets, no what-ifs. Just a clear path ahead. Sounds impossible, right? But what if I told you that ancient wisdom holds the key to this freedom? Stoicism teaches us that every moment is a choice, and with each choice we shape our destiny. Think about it. How often do we let fear dictate our actions? How many times have we hesitated only to wonder later what could have been? The truth is, every second we spend in doubt steals our potential. But what if there was a way to break this cycle? What if 10 simple rules could guide you toward a life that feels complete? As we dive deeper into these Stoic principles, I urge you to keep your mind open. Each rule is a tool, a weapon against the noise that clouds our judgment. What if one of these rules could change everything for you? Stay with me, because these insights might just reshape how you view your choices, empowering you to live fully in the present. Ready to unlock the secrets to a regret-free life? Let's get started. Rule 1. Acceptance of impermanence. You know, it's funny how often we cling to things we think will last forever. It's like we're convinced that certain moments, relationships, or successes are permanent fixtures in our lives. But the truth is, everything is fleeting. When I first wrapped my head around the concept of impermanence, it was a bit of a revelation. It made me realize that change is not just inevitable, it's the very fabric of existence. Embracing this notion has helped me let go of my attachment to specific outcomes. Take, for example, my career. There were times when I was so fixated on promotions and accolades that I lost sight of the joy of the work itself. Once I started accepting that my job could change at any moment, I found a freedom in just doing my best without the burden of expectation. It's liberating to know that whether I succeed or fail, the world will keep spinning, and life will continue to unfold. This acceptance doesn't mean we stop caring or striving for goals. Instead, it allows us to engage fully in the process without the anxiety of needing a particular result. When I encounter challenges now, I remind myself that they are temporary and that every situation, good or bad, will eventually pass. This perspective has made the tough times a lot more bearable and the good times even sweeter. In relationships, too, understanding that nothing lasts forever has deepened my connections. I cherish moments with friends and family more because I recognize that they are fleeting. I don't take time with loved ones for granted anymore. Each laugh, each hug feels more precious when I accept that it may not always be there. Ultimately, accepting impermanence has taught me to savor life as it comes, to appreciate the now without the relentless pressure of what may or may not be. It opens up a world of possibilities, free from the chains of expectation. Rule 2. Focus on the present. I used to have a habit of worrying about everything, past mistakes, future uncertainties, you name it. But then I stumbled upon the idea of mindfulness, which really shifted my perspective. Focusing on the present moment has become a game changer for me. Instead of dwelling on what I could have done differently or what might happen next week, I try to immerse myself in what's happening right now. It's incredible how much beauty there is in the present if we just take a moment to notice it. Whether it's the warmth of the sun on my skin during a morning walk, or the laughter shared over coffee with a friend, being present allows me to truly experience life. It's almost like hitting the pause button on the chaos and simply enjoying the moment. Mindfulness also helps me navigate stress and anxiety. When I catch myself spiraling into worry, I take a deep breath and pull myself back to the here and now. It's a practice, and some days are easier than others, but the more I do it, the more natural it becomes. I've learned that most of the things I stress about are either out of my control or will resolve themselves in time. Another aspect of focusing on the present is that it encourages gratitude. I find myself appreciating the small things, like a delicious meal or a moment of quiet reflection. These little joys can easily be overshadowed by our busy lives, but making a conscious effort to focus on the present has opened my eyes to their significance. In the end, living in the moment has transformed my outlook on life. I feel more grounded and less overwhelmed, and I'm learning to let go of the past and the future. Each day is a new opportunity to embrace what is, rather than what was or what might be. Rule 3. Distinguishing what's under our control. One of the most liberating realizations I've had is understanding the difference between what I can control and what I can't. It's so easy to get caught up in worrying about things that are entirely out of my hands, like other people's actions or the economy. Once I started focusing on what I could actually influence, my choices, my reactions, my attitude, it felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders. For instance, I used to stress endlessly about how my colleagues perceived my work, but then I realized that I can't control their opinions. I can only control how much effort I put into my projects. Shifting my focus to my actions instead of external validation has made a world of difference. I find that when I invest my energy in what I can control, I feel a sense of empowerment and purpose. This principle also applies to my personal life. I can't dictate how someone else feels or reacts, but I can choose how I respond to them. This realization has helped me navigate conflicts more effectively. Instead of reacting impulsively to disagreements, I take a step back and assess what I can do to resolve the situation. It's a powerful tool that fosters better communication and understanding. Learning to accept that some things are beyond my control has also made it easier to let go of frustration. When I find myself in situations that I can't change, I remind myself that it's okay to feel upset, but I shouldn't dwell on it. Instead, I redirect my energy toward positive actions that I can take, whether it's seeking support from friends or focusing on self-care. Ultimately, distinguishing what's under my control has brought clarity and peace into my life. I can now approach challenges with a mindset that prioritizes my agency, making it easier to navigate life's uncertainties without feeling overwhelmed. Rule 4. Practice of virtue. For a long time, I thought success was all about achievements and accolades. But as I've grown older, I've come to realize that true fulfillment comes from living a life rooted in virtue. Cultivating qualities like wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control has become my compass for decision-making. It's not always easy, but striving for these virtues has helped me align my actions with my values. One of the virtues I hold dear is courage. It's not just about being brave in the face of danger. It's about having the guts to stand up for what I believe in, even when it's uncomfortable. Whether it's speaking up for a friend or pursuing a passion project that scares me, embracing courage has opened doors to experiences I might have otherwise shied away from. Wisdom, on the other hand, has taught me the importance of reflection and learning from both successes and failures. I've learned to pause and consider the long-term consequences of my choices, rather than rushing into decisions. This practice has not only helped me avoid pitfalls, but has also deepened my understanding of myself and the world around me. Justice plays a significant role in my relationships. I strive to treat others fairly and to consider their perspectives, especially in conflicts. It's easy to get caught up in our own narratives, but practicing justice reminds me to listen and empathize. This approach has strengthened my connections and fostered a sense of community in my life. Lastly, self-control has been a game-changer in managing my impulses and making thoughtful choices. Whether it's resisting the urge to procrastinate or choosing healthier habits, cultivating self-control has empowered me to take charge of my life. Each virtue I practice reinforces the others, creating a holistic framework for living authentically and purposefully. Rule 5. Reevaluation of beliefs. You know, there comes a time in life when you really have to sit down and ask yourself if it's easy to go through the motions, holding on to values that were handed down to us or that we picked up along the way without much thought. But when was the last time you stopped to question them? I mean, really question them. Are they aligned with who you are today, or are they remnants of a past self? It's like cleaning out a closet. Sometimes you find things that just don't fit anymore. This reevaluation isn't just a casual chat with yourself. It's a deep dive into what you truly stand for. I often find that when I take the time to reflect on my beliefs, I discover layers I wasn't even aware of. Maybe I held on to a belief because it was comfortable, or perhaps it was simply easier than challenging the status quo. By questioning these beliefs, I get to peel back those layers and find what genuinely resonates with me. It's a liberating experience, really. I've realized that aligning my beliefs with my current values helps me live a more meaningful life. When I act according to what I truly believe, I feel a sense of authenticity that's hard to describe. It's like finally fitting into that jacket that you've had for years but never quite zipped up. When my actions match my beliefs, I experience less internal conflict and more peace. It feels good to be true to myself. Additionally, this process of reevaluation can lead to tough conversations with others. Sometimes we find that our beliefs clash with those around us, and that's okay. It's part of the journey. I've found that being honest about my beliefs, even when they differ from friends or family, encourages growth. It opens the door to discussions that can deepen relationships or even reshape them into something healthier. Ultimately, reevaluating my beliefs is about growth. It's about shedding the skin of who I was and stepping into who I want to be. It's an ongoing process, and that's what makes it so enriching. I find that the more I engage in this reflection, the more I discover about myself and what I want out of life. Rule 6. Accepting responsibility. Taking responsibility for my actions has been one of the most eye-opening experiences of my life. At first, it felt like a heavy burden, almost like I was carrying a backpack full of stones. But then I realized that accepting responsibility is actually empowering. It shifts the focus from blaming external circumstances to acknowledging my role in the events of my life. This change in perspective has helped me grow immeasurably. I remember a time when I let a project at work fall through the cracks. My initial instinct was to blame my chaotic schedule or a lack of resources. But when I took a step back and looked at the situation honestly, I had to admit I could have prioritized better. Accepting that I could have done more allowed me to learn from that experience rather than wallow in self-pity. It taught me an invaluable lesson about time management and the importance of setting priorities. Learning from mistakes rather than dwelling on them has also helped me develop resilience. When I accept responsibility, I'm not just admitting I messed up, I'm also giving myself the chance to improve. Mistakes become stepping stones instead of stumbling blocks. It's a liberating feeling to know that I have the power to change my future by learning from my past. Moreover, accepting responsibility fosters healthier relationships. When I own up to my mistakes, I create an atmosphere of trust, and it encourages others around me to do the same, leading to more open and honest communication. I've noticed that when I take responsibility, conflicts can be resolved more quickly, and misunderstandings are less frequent. It's a win-win situation. In the end, accepting responsibility has transformed my life. It has allowed me to take control of my narrative, making me the author of my own story rather than a passive character. I've come to see that every decision I make shapes my future, and embracing that responsibility fills me with a sense of purpose and direction. Rule 7. Regular reflection. Incorporating regular reflection into my life has been nothing short of transformative. At first, it felt a bit awkward, almost like staring into a mirror that I wasn't ready to face. But as I've made it a habit, I've started to see it as a vital part of my routine. Reflecting on my thoughts, attitudes, and behaviors allows me to understand myself on a deeper level. When I sit down to reflect, I often ask myself questions that guide my thinking. What went well today? What could have been better? This simple practice of self-analysis helps me identify patterns in my behavior that I might not notice otherwise. It's like having a personal coach who gently nudges me towards improvement. Over time, I've become more attuned to my emotions and reactions, which has led to better decision-making. I also find that reflection helps me cultivate a growth mindset. Instead of seeing setbacks as failures, I see them as opportunities for learning. When I take the time to analyze what went wrong, I can adjust my approach for the future. It's a continuous loop of feedback that keeps me moving forward, and I appreciate how this mindset allows me to embrace challenges rather than shy away from them. Another benefit of regular reflection is that it encourages gratitude. When I take stock of my day, I often find moments of joy or success that I might have otherwise overlooked. This practice of recognizing the good helps shift my perspective, making me appreciate the little things in life. It's a wonderful counterbalance to the chaos that often surrounds us. Ultimately, reflection is about growth, personal growth. It allows me to take a step back and evaluate my life from a broader perspective. The more I engage in this practice, the more I feel equipped to tackle whatever comes my way. I've learned that self-reflection is not a one-time event, but a lifelong journey, and I'm grateful for every step along the path. Rule 8. Cultivating gratitude. I've found that cultivating gratitude is like a muscle that needs regular exercise. It's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of life, constantly chasing after what's next, that we forget to pause and appreciate the goodness already around us. Think about the small things: the warmth of the sun on your face, the sound of laughter from a friend, or even the simple pleasure of a good cup of coffee. When I take a moment to acknowledge these things, I feel a shift in my mindset. It's as if a veil lifts, revealing the abundance that was always there, waiting for me to notice. One of the most profound impacts of gratitude is its ability to change our perspective. Instead of focusing on what we lack, gratitude forces us to confront the wealth we already possess. It's not about ignoring life's challenges, rather, it's about balancing our view with the positive aspects that often go unnoticed. For example, when I reflect on a tough day, instead of dwelling on the stress, I try to remember a single moment of joy from that day. This practice transforms my feelings of discontent into an appreciation for the experience, no matter how difficult it was. Gratitude also encourages a sense of connection. When we express appreciation for others, be it a family member, friend, or colleague, we strengthen our bonds. I've noticed that when I make it a point to thank someone, whether it's for a favor or just for being there, it creates a ripple effect. People respond positively, and in turn, I feel more connected to them. It's a reminder that relationships thrive on recognition and appreciation, which fosters a supportive environment where everyone can grow. Moreover, keeping a gratitude journal has been a game changer for me. Each night I jot down 3 things I'm grateful for, and it doesn't have to be monumental. Sometimes it's as simple as a good meal or a moment of peace. This practice helps me to end my day on a positive note, reinforcing the idea that even on challenging days, there's always something to be thankful for. Over time, I've noticed that this habit has made me more resilient, as I begin to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than setbacks. In embracing gratitude, I've learned to focus on the present moment. It encourages mindfulness and helps me to slow down. When I'm fully present and aware of my surroundings, I can appreciate the beauty of life as it unfolds. It's a gentle reminder that while life may be fleeting, the moments we choose to cherish can create a lasting sense of fulfillment. Rule 9. Cultivating healthy relationships. Investing in healthy relationships has become a cornerstone of my happiness. I've realized that the people I surround myself with significantly influence my well-being. It's not just about having friends, it's about fostering connections that uplift and inspire. I've made it a point to spend time with those who encourage my growth and challenge me to be better. These relationships create a supportive network where we can share our struggles and celebrate our victories together. On the flip side, I've learned to identify and distance myself from toxic relationships. These are the ones that drain my energy and leave me feeling depleted. It's not always easy to let go, especially if there's a history involved, but I've come to understand that my well-being must come first. When I spend time with people who uplift me, I find myself more motivated and engaged in my pursuits. It's a powerful reminder that the quality of our relationships can either propel us forward or hold us back. Building healthy relationships also requires effort and intention. I've found that being vulnerable and open fosters deeper connections. Sharing my thoughts and feelings allows others to do the same, creating an environment of trust. It's amazing how quickly relationships can deepen when both parties are willing to be honest and open about their experiences. This mutual exchange builds empathy and understanding, which is crucial for any strong relationship. Furthermore, I've learned to prioritize communication. Regular check-ins with friends and family help keep our connections strong. Whether it's a simple text to see how they're doing or a planned get-together, these small efforts go a long way. I've noticed that when I make the effort to reach out, it not only strengthens our bond, but also encourages them to reciprocate, creating a cycle of support and care. In nurturing these healthy relationships, I've also discovered the importance of setting boundaries. It's essential to know when to say no and to protect my energy. I've come to understand that it's okay to prioritize my own needs and well-being. By doing so, I create space for meaningful connections that enrich my life rather than drain it. Ultimately, investing in healthy relationships has led to a more fulfilling and joyful existence. Rule 10. Accepting human fallibility. Accepting human fallibility is a lesson I've learned through life's ups and downs. It's easy to be hard on ourselves when we make mistakes, but I've come to realize that errors are simply part of the human experience. Rather than viewing them as failures, I try to see them as opportunities for growth and learning. Each mistake brings with it a lesson that shapes who I am and how I approach life moving forward. I've found that when I embrace my fallibility, I become more compassionate towards myself and others. Instead of reacting with frustration or disappointment, I can respond with understanding. This shift in perspective has made a significant difference in my interactions with others. When someone else slips up, I'm more likely to offer support and encouragement rather than judgment. It fosters an environment where we can all learn from our mistakes without fear of criticism. Moreover, accepting that everyone makes mistakes has made me more resilient. Life is unpredictable, and setbacks are inevitable. By acknowledging that errors are a natural part of the journey, I'm better equipped to handle challenges with grace. I've learned to ask myself, what can I learn from this? Rather than dwelling on what went wrong. This proactive approach enables me to move forward and adapt rather than getting stuck in a cycle of self-blame. In my journey of acceptance, I've also discovered the power of vulnerability. Sharing my mistakes with others has often led to deeper connections. It's a reminder that we're all in this together, navigating the complexities of life. By being open about my fallibility, I create space for others to do the same, fostering a sense of community and support. Ultimately, embracing human fallibility has taught me that growth is a continuous process. We are all works in progress, and that's perfectly okay. Each mistake, each misstep, is a stepping stone toward becoming a better version of ourselves. In accepting this reality, I found peace and a deeper appreciation for the journey of life itself. As we wrap up our exploration of these 10 powerful Stoic rules for living a life without regrets, I want you to take a moment and reflect. How can you apply these principles starting today? Imagine waking up tomorrow with a renewed sense of purpose, free from the weight of past mistakes. What would that feel like for you? Remember, it's not just about knowing these rules, it's about embodying them. Each day is a fresh canvas, and you hold the brush. Are you ready to create a masterpiece? Think about the choices you make. Are they aligned with your values? Are you living intentionally, or are you letting life happen to you? The Stoics remind us that we have the power to choose our responses, no matter the external circumstances. So I challenge you. This week, pick one of these rules and put it into action. Document your thoughts, your struggles, your victories. Share your journey in the comments below. What obstacles do you foresee? How can the Stoic mindset help you overcome them? Let's continue this conversation. Your insights could inspire someone else on their path to a regret-free life. Until next time, keep reflecting, keep growing, and remember, the power to change is always within you.